Welcome to the Taps Media Podcast number 5. Okay, this show we get to visit Mill Street breweries in the historic Distillery District. We talked to Steve Abrams, who's one of the co-founders, and he's going to give us some history. We also got a chance to meet with Joel Manning, who's the brewmaster, and my esteemed colleague Troy Birch gets to taste some of the beers. Enjoy the show. Cheers.
Hi Taps, welcome to Mill Street Brewery. Come on in. We're located in the beautiful Distillery District. This place goes back to the 1830s. We opened here in 2002. Prior to that, it was the largest distillery in the British Empire. We started as three guys who literally sitting in a bar one day, tooling around the back of a napkin saying, why don't we open our own brewery? And started looking at locations, old banks, old supermarkets, places like that. And then we found this place, the distillery, and the guys who developed this place were coming up with the concept, and they were actively seeking a brewery. We were unknown. We had no background. I myself, I was a teacher. I had nothing to do with beer, except really enjoying it on a Friday night. So my partner was the brewmaster. We pitched him. And basically 12 months from concept, we opened our doors, and we've been here ever since. Well, as we grew, we realized that the distillery is a huge destination, not only for tourists, but also for locals. But there was no real pub environment down here. So no one else was doing it, so we decided to make the decision to turn this place into a brew pub where you can see the beer being made. We can sample and experiment with all the different brands that we have. It's wonderful. We do get a lot of tourists in the summertime, but again, there's a lot of locals who are discovering this place. It's history. It's a beautiful place. And you come in, we're trying to get this environment where we're paying homage to all the old breweries and distilleries that existed here. And if you walk around, you'll see there are all these different artifacts that we photographed, and there are old trays and coasters and signs that go back to the 1800s. What my concept was in creating the Brew Pub was really to incorporate all this fun artwork, paying homage to a bygone era. And of course, some of the advertising is just classic. You have, for example, here's one out of Kitchener. Obviously this would not pass the AGCO board today. You cannot have cute puppy dogs licking beer off the table, but it sure is funny. This is out of a collection of over 300 images that we took from one guy's collection. Our first beer, we always like to say in the brewing business, our excise license was granted in December of 2002, and we started with our organic. So people kind of looked at us, especially what we like to call, the beer geeks. Let's be honest, these guys are pretty determined to knock you if you're not doing what their style is, and that tends to be sort of pale ales. And here we were making this very light lager that happened to be certified organic. So it looked kind of fluffy, yes, and a bit of a marketing hook to it. But the fact is, we all know now that organics are here to stay. But we won them over when we came out with Tank House, because that was the beer that really sold us to that really hardcore connoisseur population. Coffee porter, of course, was just the icing on the cake there, because who else is making a coffee porter available at the LCBO? It's for a very niche audience. Either you love it or you hate it. It uses real coffee beans. We don't use extracts. It actually does have a bit of the caffeine content. Not a whole lot, but the original batch actually had a lot more. We don't make that batch anymore for obvious reasons. These are old trays, Cosgraves. These are all breweries that existed not far from where we're standing today. Here, of course, you have an hysterical one. This is Salvador from a brewery called Reinhardt. And here they're promoting beer, of course, as the answer to drowning sailors, I think. Here's a 2-4, and Bob's your uncle, and also to eloped mothers to keep their distracted husbands from running amok in the streets of Toronto. So, again, you can't make health claims anymore with beer, but apparently you could back then.
I'm Troy with Taps, and I'm going to go try some beer. Welcome to the brewery. My name's Joel Manning. I'm the brewmaster here at Mill Street. We're just steps away from where you just were with Steve Abrams out in the pub. Well, what you're looking at here is pretty much the whole brewery down here. We have the brew house right behind me where we make the actual wort. It's cooled and then it gets pumped over into one of the fermenters or aging vessels here where it goes through all of its fermentation, aging, testing, and then in preparation for it to be filtered into one of the bright beer tanks right behind you here. Where it'll get kegged and go to the bar. The 6 beers that we make here at the pub and serve here on tap are the extra special bitter, the IPA, the Pilsner, the Stout, the Winterbock, and right now we have a non-alcoholic organic lager on tap as well. Okay, so right here we have our barley wine, which we'll try. So it's a beer that spends a long time in this brewery. So we've brewed it now in January and it'll be ready in the fall. So give it a go. Cheers. Cheers.
So Joel, what am I smelling in the barley wine?
A lot of malt, a lot of alcohol, and quite a bit of hop. This is really, really strong beer. It's going to wind up, when it finishes fermentation, it's close to being finished now, be just over 10% alcohol. The fact that it's a barley wine, which just implies that it's a very, very strong beer, means that we actually have to age it for almost wine duration. Like it spends 8-9 months in here before we finish it.
So when I'm tasting, what should I be looking for?
In this thing, you're looking for fruitiness that comes out of the yeast and the fermentation that comes from that much sugar and producing that much alcohol produces a lot of kind of fruit flavors that are in there. Dried fruit flavors, apricot, things like that.
For sure, I can get the apricot.
Yeah, it's funny to try it right now because it's so young. If you come back and see this stuff in the summer, it's much drier, it's much lighter, but it's a lot more elegant. It has a lot more kind of complex flavor. Right now, it's pretty much kind of sweet, fruit, and alcohol. It's young yet.
And so you release it every winter?
We release it every winter, yeah. Absolutely. We sold out this year. We've made twice as much in 2008 than we did in 2007 because it sold out very, very quickly in 2007.
So while I'm down here, what else can we try?
Oh, you can try the Frambozen that we have in bright beer tanks right now.
Gold medal winner, Canadian Brewing Awards.
That's the one.
All right, let's go.
This is the Frambozen right here in this tank.
This is the 2007 Canadian Brewing Awards gold medal winner. What can you tell me about this beer?
Well, it's a sort of classic Belgian style fruit beer. It's a style of beer that's made with, it's a wheat malt base and it's actually flavored with fruit. So give it a try and let me know what you think of it.
Well, it certainly smells delicious and it tastes delicious. Do you use fruit in this or fruit syrups or?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, we use whole fruit. We use about 150 kilos of whole raspberries go into it. So yeah, it's not made with extracts or syrups or essences or anything. It's actually made with whole fruit that get added during aging. So
it's kind of cliche to say, but do you get a lot of female drinkers that prefer this over something, say, like a Tank House or your ESB?
Yeah, I would say yes. One other, well, maybe sort of a corollary to that is that we get a lot of people that aren't necessarily beer drinkers that are maybe kind of don't routinely drink beer, but maybe drink wine on a regular basis and come here down to the pub and say, what do you have? Hey, you've got fruit beer and let me try that. And I have no idea that this type of beer even exists. If you expect this to be beer, like organic, and someone hands you this, this is not beer, like in that classical sort of sense. I mean, it's so different. There's so many other flavors going on in our Frambozen here at Mill Street that it's a really, really, really good alternative for a lot of people that don't really like classic beer, but have never been exposed to anything other than kind of mainstream generic beer. And it's a good kind of segue into it. And they go, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll try the coffee porter. That might be really interesting. Or maybe we'll try the barley wine, or maybe we'll try some other beers here that actually have some flavors and some other things going on, and we can pair them with the food down here. So it's a whole experience that we try and fabricate down here. It's not just the beer, but we try and make beers that are conducive to people trying different experiences. So.
Well, congratulations on gold medal winner.
Thank you. Hope you like it.
We're experiencing now this renaissance in beer culture in Canada. It's something that's been going on in North America for about 20 years, but right now Ontario is really experiencing what's going on, and it's no more about, you know, the blonde ales and lagers, everyone imitating each other. And now people are really sticking their necks out, trying different types of recipes, And it's exciting. It's a great time to be here. We're very lucky to have Mill Street in the middle of this, and we've got voted Canadian Brewery of the Year based on the different styles of beer that we're making. So we're very proud of that, and hopefully going forward we'll continue to be doing this.